When he woke up, a girl was looking for him and scolding him for sleeping through such an important day. He recognized her as Sanjo Rei-chan and thought it had to be a dream because it was way too vivid. Rei told him that even if it was just formal, they were still siblings, and she called him Hiro-san. He was shocked to hear the name Hiro. Rei told him the limo was waiting and to hurry up. He looked at his face and thought it was hateful. He tried to punch Rei thinking it was a dream and hit her with everything he had. She was stunned. He was on the floor in pain, realizing that if it hurt this much, it was not a dream. He wondered if he had seriously turned into Hiro. Sanjo Hiro was the most hated nuisance of a character in a certain game called Everything for the Score, nicknamed Esco. Among Yuri game fans, it was considered a masterpiece. The main goal was for the protagonist to find happiness with a heroine, and it was set at the Hojo Magic Academy. Unusual for a Yuri game, it had a heavy focus on simulation elements. The 4 main heroines were all adorable, and he had played for days straight, collecting every CG and scenario. The one thing that got on his nerves was Sanjo Hiro, the guy who got between the Yuri. Esco's bad reputation was all thanks to this guy. He was involved in most of the negative events, had way too much screen time for a Yuri game, and even the characters treated him like a bad aura. After 100% completion, he had headed to the convenience store, totally wiped out. He saw a girl being threatened, and at first froze up in a panic, but he could not just stand by and watch, so he jumped in to help. That was all he could remember. Judging from the current situation, he must have gotten reincarnated from that incident. He found himself in a limo with Rei and another woman. Rei addressed him as Hiro-san and told him the Sanjo family dinner was about to begin. She said he was just decoration and told him not to be disrespectful to the guests. She also told him not to open his mouth unless it was to eat. He said figures. She added that based on today's behavior, people were going to give him even worse labels. He noticed her cold stare and had no doubt about it. They arrived at a large venue. Rei told him to get a hold of himself, saying that even if it was just symbolic, showing up still carried weight as a member of the Sanjo family. He was caught off guard by her concern and blurted out that she was so kind and good-looking. He panicked because that had slipped out. He wondered if acting cold would feel more in character for Hiro. She handed him a bandage, returning the favor for his handkerchief. She said she figured he might have hurt his hand because it was red when he picked up the watch. He said it was just basic courtesy, and that her beautiful hands were meant for the future of their family. The servants were upset about giving something so cheap to Rei-sama, but Rei refused a replacement and accepted it, saying it was rare for Hiro-san to indulge in jokes like that. He felt proud and declared that paying taxes and protecting Yuri was the duty of every Japanese citizen. Rei told him he should see a doctor. Inside the venue, he was amazed to see girls openly dating other girls like it was the most natural thing in the world. He thought it was heaven, and that this was definitely the world of Esco. There were guys too, but they were so unimportant they were practically part of the background. He noted that Sanjo Hiro might be the heir of the main family, but it was Rei who would inherit the Sanjo name. He was only there because his position made it unavoidable. He noticed Rei was hiding the bandage he had given her and worried about whether it might have actually lowered her affection points. Suddenly, a woman grabbed him, calling out, "Mama!" He told her to stop because it was dangerous. She was the great aunt, the eldest of the Sanjo family, and the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. She told him that starting next year, he would be enrolling at Hojo Magic Academy. He asked why him. She told him to be silent and that he did not have the right to refuse. He realized that Hojo Academy was the main stage for Esco. He saw Rei looking furious, repeatedly saying she hated him. She scolded him for showing his face in that filthy state. The great aunt's attendant told Rei she messed up and to just finish him off next time. He felt bloodlust from them. There were reports piling up saying he used the Sanjo name to threaten people and had been begging for money from the Branch family. He was hated enough that no one would be surprised if he were killed. The great aunt explained that since the Sanjo family directly supported Hojo Academy, no one could touch him carelessly there. If he studied magic and became independent, he would regain some dignity. She said she would give him some support. He knew that was a lie. He recognized this from the game. The Sanjo family thought it was the perfect chance to assassinate Hiro. Rei's affection level was rock bottom, but he did not think she was at the murder stage yet. If things kept up, the Sanjo family would kill him just like in the scenario. He told himself he had to avoid this death flag no matter what. Besides the Sanjo family, the main characters were also deeply involved in his death. He was thinking about what to do when someone swung a weapon at him from behind. He barely dodged it and asked if the assassination squad had already shown up, but it was a maid he did not recognize. He figured she must be a mob character not in the original. She said the great aunt told her to deliver something to him. She handed him a long wrapped object. He recognized it as a magic catalyst device. In Esco, magic could only be activated through these tools. It was Kuki Masamune, Hiro's unique magic catalyst device. In the game, you could get it by killing Hiro and stealing it, which put you on the corruption route. He drew the weapon and said the blade was formed with magic. He activated it, but the blade barely came out. He checked its status screen and found the catalyst's attribute was light with minor support. It could only activate a weak light orb. He was frustrated because the catalyst was basically junk. He said reinforcing their strength came first, and to do that they needed to head to a dungeon. The maid was surprised. He told her she could head home. She called him an idiot. She asked why he had insulted his own master, and said the insults were payback for bullying one of her maid friends the other day. She said she was not scared of him. He told her he wanted to apologize to that girl right away because he was in the wrong. The maid was surprised. He said it was late and she could set up a meeting tomorrow. They arrived at the area Tokyo Management Bureau. The guard recognized him as the Sanjo heir and let them through without further checks. He entered the dungeon, a singularity connected to another world called the Area Tokyo Abandoned Station Dungeon. The maid followed him inside, asking why Hiro-sama was in a dungeon since it was a pointless place for him. He explained that he could not properly use Kuki Masamune at his current rate, so he was hunting monsters to farm catalyst and gain experience. Without magic, you could not harm monsters, and you needed a magic catalyst device to even do that. She suggested he could buy basic conduits with his score. He said that was not an option. He explained that ESCO had a system where behavior, achievements, and social contributions all converted into a score that determined your rank and how you were treated everywhere. He checked his status, and his overall score was 0. The history showed that the original hero had lost points for losing gambles, bullying the maid, breaking a vase, using the Sanjo family's authority to lend money and then losing at gambling, interrupting couples, skipping class, and secretly eating extra food. The few positive points from apologizing and giving Rei a bandage did not make up for the losses. With a score of 0, score-based payments were the default in this region, so he could not even buy daily necessities, let alone conductors. Kuki Masamune remained unusable. He decided to make do with a basic weapon from a convenience store that he could buy with cash. It came with magic damage. The maid remarked that given Hiro's behavior, she was not surprised his score was 0. She said the scumbag she knew had no intention of training and would never bow his head to anyone, and asked if he was really that same hero. He said his apology had really shocked her and to relax because there was a first time for everything. They encountered their first monster, a butch knight. It was tough for a first fight, and more started spawning too fast. He told the maid to fall back. A voice told both of them to get back, and someone appeared and wiped out all the monsters in one attack. The girl asked what they were doing there and told them to head back before they died. He recognized her as Lapis Crue Lalumette, one of the 4 main heroines. She was a princess from the Elf Kingdom, so rich it made the Sanjo family look poor. She was not a heroine you were supposed to meet before entering the academy. She noticed he was a guy and looked at his score of 0 and his catalyst. She told him to go home quickly. He panicked and told her to stay away because he did not want to die. In ESCO, she was the #1 girl for executing Hiro on sight. She asked what he thought she was. He stared at her and said she was an elf dressed like some kind of pervert. She was furious and said it was formal wear. She said if words would not work, she would personally train him. He accepted her challenge and said if he won, he wanted her catalyst. She agreed that if she lost, she would give him everything. The maid told him the elf was a well-known archer and suggested he forfeit. He said he knew that very well and that he had spent so much time grinding just to beat Lapis in the game. As a handicap, Lapis said she would not move from her spot and would let him make 10 moves first. Lapis was quick to react with high specs. She was not suited for close combat, but her base stats were above average, so she was not bad at it either. Charging in against her was basically a guaranteed loss, but her catalyst could also be equipped on his Kuki Masamune, so he had to get it no matter what. He knew from the game that Lapis would never shoot at an unarmed opponent. He rushed at her without drawing a weapon, and she asked if he was mocking her. She decided no more holding back. He dodged her attacks and got close. He told her she was strong, but when something unexpected happened, she still froze up just like always. He activated Kuki Masamune and struck her weapon away, declaring his win. Lapis was shocked and refused to accept it. She asked if his magic device was not even working properly. He said it was working and that he was using her conductor, which he had borrowed when he passed by her. What she had was his defective one. She called him a coward, but he said there was no such thing as cowardice in battle and asked who said you were not allowed to remove your opponent's conductor. He called her an idiot for underestimating her enemy and holding back on her own. He said he was taking everything as they agreed. Lapis looked like she was about to cry. He changed his mind and said he would just take one. The maid noted that was really not like him and said that if he had let the match end with Lapis still crying, she was planning to smash him to bits. He pointed out that a catalyst had dropped from the monsters the maid had cleared during the duel. The great aunt's servant warned him that if he messed up, he would be executed. Lapis demanded another match and said next time she would go all out from the start. He told her to cut him some slack. She refused. He thought luck had played a part, but he had also probably avoided Lapis's bad relationship route. Being able to activate Kuki Masamune was thanks to how much he had played Esco in his previous life. With this knowledge, he could dodge all the death flags and guide the story toward a world where Sanjo Hiro did not get caught between the Yuri couple and the heroines could fully enjoy their Yuri. He already felt like giving up. The day after his reincarnation, Hiro was fighting monsters in the area Tokyo abandoned train station dungeon at the lowest level. The battle was over in an instant. He remarked that as long as he had Kuki Masamune, things would be smooth for a while. He got a drop and had gathered a good amount of conductors too. He felt he really owed Lapis for this, and it was time to use some real enhancement magic. The maid was tagging along again. He told her he had already apologized to her colleague and asked if something was still bothering her. She huffed at him. She then called out to Hiro, pointing at something nearby. They found Lapis hiding behind a pillar. Hiro called out to her, and she jolted in surprise. He asked if she seriously thought that counted as hiding. Lapis stumbled out, and the maid recognized her as the zero-score guy. Lapis declared that fate had brought them together, and they had no choice but to settle things. Hiro refused. He figured she probably wanted to settle the score from yesterday's loss. He asked how she was even able to enter the dungeon with a 0 score. Lapis said she had family connections. Thanks to the Sanju family, she did not have to go through the permit process. Hiro pointed out that the match was already decided, and besides, an elf princess meeting up with a guy would be a problem if someone saw her. Lapis insisted her outfit was formal wear and said she cared more about constantly losing to a 0-score guy than about being seen. She stated that even if someone saw her meeting a guy, it would be like spotting a bug, nothing more. She pulled him by the arm. Hiro told her not to get the wrong idea. Looking down on men was just common sense. But he said he did not have that kind of prejudice, at least not toward her right now. He said he was deeply honored. Lapis told him that even if he tried to save face or act humble, she was not giving up on the match. Hiro called her a damn battle maniac and told her to get ready. He said he had no choice and would let her beat him up just enough to calm down. Lapis admitted she did not enjoy picking on the weak, but the way he fought yesterday did not sit right with her. Suddenly, something attacked them from behind. Lapis shouted that it was another sneak attack. Hiro yelled at her to get down and tackled her out of the way. A massive armored figure had appeared. Hiro noted it was a rare encounter, a high-level mob above the area's difficulty that sometimes appeared in dungeons. It was a floating phantom armor, an avenging spirit born from the grudges of night-type monsters. He figured he must have accidentally triggered the conditions by hunting a bunch of them yesterday. Hiro apologized and noted her legs had given out. Lapis demanded to be put down, insisting she could stand on her own. Hiro pointed out the enemy was not going to wait for her to recover. The floating phantom armor was a pain with just its high durability, and with Lapis out of commission, the best strategy was to run. He used a conductor and activated Esco magic, generating a mana surface layer, altering his musculature, skeleton, and optic nerves. He used enhancement projection, which shocked Lapis. He explained that Esco magic was a spell formula deployed by combining conductors, usable thanks to the mana surface layer he had gained. They ran toward the exit. Hiro told Lapis that no matter how strong the mob was, the system would not let it chase them across dungeon floors. But the phantom armor threw its shield and blocked the exit, destroying the doorway. Hiro said this was a problem. His magic was going to run out first. They had not seen any dimensional gates leading outside, and they could not ignore the spirit armors either. He turned to Lapis and suggested they continue their match. If she beat that hunk of metal, she would win. Lapis said there was no way she could beat something like that. Hiro asked if she was not all fired up earlier, talking big about how a score of 0 could not take on a 30,000. She admitted it was frustrating, but she could not move well enough to run. Hiro thought that she had a battle brain, so taunting her would make her take the bait. He told her he would be her legs so she could smash that bastard's face in. Lapis asked if teaming up meant it was no longer a match. He said he did not know much about match rules since he had a score of 0, but he could not have her dying on him there. He added that in his ideal Yuri garden, not a single girl could be missing. Lapis was confused. He apologized, saying that was on him. Lapis declared she would beat the phantom armor down and turn it into scrap metal. Hiiro called out attacks from the left, and she confirmed she got it. He explained that piercing the armor was pointless because it was too tough. The core inside was the real body. He asked if she could hit it through the gaps. Lapis struck through the gap, and it was working, but the firepower was not enough. Hiiro said he would make the target easier to hit. He started prying the armor apart, while Lapis watched in shock. He used his final physical enhancement and told her this was the one and only chance. He threw the armor piece away, exposing the core. Lapis dove in with a piercing strike and hit the core directly, destroying the phantom armor. Lapis laughed and celebrated, spinning around happily and saying it was amazing. She asked if he was really a score 0. Hiiro collapsed, saying he was worn out from running out of mana. The maid declared it was Lapis's complete victory, and that no one else could have finished off that pile of scrap. She added that she was also spared the trouble of reporting Hiiro's death. Hiiro asked where Lapis's certainty came from, how she was sure he could take down a rare monster. Lapis said that was a foolish question, and that with a score of 30,000, of course she would rely on him. There was no way she would not believe in Esko's heroine. Hiiro asked if she would mind taking down the boss on the lowest floor for him, since there was a dimensional gate in the boss room. She agreed. He told her to go ahead because he could not move. He then asked her name. She said Yamada. He gave his full name as Yamada Teru. Lapis smiled and said, so there were guys like him too. Hiiro thought that since he gave a fake name, this event with Lapis should be settled. The maid observed that those two hit it off fast, despite only meeting yesterday, that his score was 0, that he was a scumbag who messed around with girls, and told Lapis to avoid getting involved with Teru further. Lapis went and one-shot the lowest floor's boss, and they safely made it back outside. A few days later, Hiiro was back in his usual daily routine. He always started early mornings with a run, a habit from before his reincarnation. Stamina was crucial for conquering Yuri games. While running, he collided with 2 girls, and they fell on top of each other. One apologized and said she would get off right away. Hiiro said it was fine and told her to stay just a little longer. He thought it was a public street Yuri ambush. In Esko, a mage's strength depended entirely on their own stats: magic power, intelligence, stamina, agility, and strength. The only way to build up magic power was through steady training, so his method was running marathons while using body enhancement. Even after taking down score-heavy rare monsters, his score stayed at 0, so he gave up on boosting abilities that way. He ran out of magic and continued normally. He noticed elf-eared mobs and thought there were more of them lately, which felt bad. The maid appeared wearing a fake glasses and nose disguise, claiming to be Maid Delta. Hiiro told her she was totally busted and to quit the act. He let it slide for now, but said it was time to leave since he could feel the elves' eyes on him. When he arrived back at the Sanju residence, Lapis was waiting in a dress. She yelled that he was late and should have sent a message if he was going to run for 2 hours. He asked why she was there. She revealed she was the princess of the Elven Holy Capital, and that the women following him were Mikaj archers, her personal guard unit. Hiiro realized the gathering elves meant Lapis was involved. She told him not to get weird ideas. The elves came along for personal reasons. She asked where his room was. He said the end of the 2nd floor, at the corner. She said she preferred corners too, and next door worked fine. She announced she was living there starting today. Hiiro told her to go home, that girls should not barge into a guy's place. Lapis said the last time felt like simple cooperation, and figured they should live together until things were settled, since it would make the contest easier. Hiiro was dumbstruck. The maid came in, saying she was back. Hiiro realized she was the one who let Lapis in, and that her talk about a message from the guards was a lie. The elves staking out his running course were her doing. She smiled and called him Yamada-sama, still holding a grudge. He thought it was easy enough to dig up his personal info since there were not many nobles with a score of 0 getting into dungeons. Lapis called out his real name, Sanju Hiiro, and told him not to think he could escape from her. Hiiro screamed in frustration. Lapis thought to herself that the one she had admitted defeat to and longed to rematch was a human man of all things, and that he was seriously firing up her interest. All 12 members of Mikaj Archery arrived at Yamada's place with a lot of luggage, announcing that they would be in his care. One of the girls commented that houses for people were kind of small, while another said that this was Yamada-kun's place. Hiiro explained that he was living there alone right now, but the property would eventually belong to the heir, Rei. The house was way too huge, and he had no idea what to do with it. Hiiro's room was shown to be a detached room for live-ins, and a note mentioned that the maid used it too. Hiiro had been thinking that if only he could share this problem with someone, But then the Mikage archery girls showed up in a truck, hauling luggage and warning anyone in the way that they were getting run over. He thought that nobody said he wanted to live with a bunch of hot elf girls. The girls started exploring the house and fighting over rooms. They noticed the walls were covered with famous paintings. And one girl pointed out that one piece was a totally different style because it was anime art. Hiiro then got serious and started talking about Mikage archery. There was actually one more person guarding Lapis, but Hiiro had not seen them and wondered where they were. A girl directed luggage into a room. Someone called out for Hiiro, asking if the shampoo refill was ready. One of the girls came out barely dressed and thanked him, while another warned her she would get in trouble going out looking like that. Some of the Mikage archery girls commented that Hiiro had just walked in like it was nothing, and that according to rumors, he was a huge womanizer. But the girl who let him through thought maybe he was not as sleazy as the rumors said. One of the girls called out to Hiiro and asked if he was done helping out. She asked him to explain the house rules so they could all get along, but before that she mentioned she wanted to try living in a tatami room. His room on the second floor had both a bed and tatami, so she proposed they swap rooms. She offered to have the Mikage archery girls help out if he agreed, but Hiiro was already gone. He had used body enhancement repeatedly and bolted away. Hiiro was panicking, shouting that this was totally the opening to an adult game. He ended up at a park, wondering why events always revolved around the guy and where the Yuri had gone. He decided he would deal with that later. If he was going to be living with Lapis and the Mikage archery girls, there was another matter. Someone called that one should be coming along too. He had kept checking while helping with the move, but never saw them. He checked the time and panicked. He needed to prepare the finest hospitality, a luxurious dinner, right now. For the first meeting with that one, it was an absolute requirement to go through the princess and show they were on friendly terms. The princess was looking for Hiiro, saying he had suddenly disappeared. Hiiro figured if he followed the running course, he should be able to get back to the villa before dinner. But if he ran into that one without Lapis around, it would be bad. A figure appeared and asked if he was the warrior who defeated Lapis. The figure said that even if his score was low, if that stubborn girl acknowledged him, then someone like her, the strongest, should be the one to measure him. She called him by his full name, Sanjo Hiiro, and said she chose him. She declared that she was interested in him. Her name was Astamil Crew B. Kurlicia, Lapis's other bodyguard and master, the strongest warrior of the Elven nation's holy capital. Hiiro recalled that in Esco, Astamil was a helper character who only joined early in the Lapis road. She did not get many scenes, but when she did, she absolutely wrecked him without mercy. She saw Hiiro as a sworn enemy. The small girl with Lapis tried to join in too. Astamil said that mercy was unnecessary, and now Hiiro's absolute worst nightmare was standing right in front of him. She was so popular with players that she was known as the Judicator. Hiiro nervously tried to explain that his victory against Lapis was a fluke, and that he only won because he took out her catalyst. But Astamil told him to get ready, and Hiiro could feel that this was real killing intent. She was different from everyone he had faced so far. Astamil used enhanced projection and attacked. Hiiro barely reacted in time and used a tree branch to block, saying that if he had not reacted, he would have been sliced clean in half. Astamil was surprised he dodged it and decided to draw her blade. Hiiro realized that unlike Lapis, tricks would not work on her, and complained that her attacks were not something used just to feel someone out. He blocked her thrust, and Astamil noted that up to this point, it was a perfect score. Hiiro was shocked by the kind of block she had just used. Astamil said that was enough warm-up. Hiiro coughed from the impact. She took an Iai Jutsu stance, and Hiiro recognized it. She asked how he would handle it. Hiiro thought that Iai Jutsu meant she was in full combat mode. She attacked, and he screamed that he was going to die. He realized he could not win and could not lose either, and a maniac like her would not accept a surrender. If he charged in, he would just get wiped out. He decided he had no choice but to escape without losing. Astamil used a catalyst for flash step and teleported right to him. Hiiro could not believe a melee character was using teleportation and called it cheating. He told himself there was no point whining about a broken character. If there was no way to escape, he had no choice but to slip past that one deadly strike. He noted that the only hope was that the strongest was still holding back. Hiiro panicked for a second when she used flash step, but he noticed she was fighting without freeing her magic catalyst. That meant it was not a magic catalyst device, but just an ordinary katana. He used his magic to create an orb with the light attribute and detonated it. They could not completely block his magic. The light orb blinded Astamil. Hiiro shouted that if she could not see her target, she could not cut a thing. Astamil was impressed that he pulled off a blinding spell in such a moment. Hiiro said that cheats did not need tools or anything like that. Astamil noted that even after using Iai Jutsu, that was all she managed to cut and called it magnificent. Hiiro was confused about what she was saying. Astamil said that he had responded with everything he had, so she would do the same and answer him with her full strength. Hiiro panicked and asked if she was actually going to use her magic catalyst device. Astamil began a chant and activated her magical catalyst device. Hiiro recalled that in the game, after a certain event, Astamil would leave the party and Lapis would inherit a unique magic catalyst from her. Astamil unleashed her attack, the sacred bow Crimson Celestial Blaze. Hiiro knew the situation was bad and that there was nothing more he could do. He had no choice but to bet everything on someone showing up. Lapis arrived and scolded Astamil for pulling out the treasured bow in a place like this, asking if she was out of her mind. Astamil said Lapis had suddenly vanished, so she came looking for her, and laughed that she just got a little too into it. Lapis told her that was not something she used on a whim. Hiiro declared that this was his trump card all along. He explained that he believed Lapis would come running after him when he took off, so he fought just to survive and buy time. He won the bet and made it out alive. Now Astamil had no choice but to stop fighting in front of her princess. Astamil laughed and admitted she lost. Even after she brought out her treasured bow, he had gotten her good. She told Hiiro that he far exceeded anything she had imagined, and that he had an extraordinary talent that might even surpass her someday. Hiiro said he guessed he could not beat a cheat. Astamil then yanked him close and asked if he would become her disciple. Hiiro was stunned. Lapis was shocked at how close Astamil's face was to his. At 4 in the morning, a girl stretched and told Hiiro that it was a bit chilly but a pleasant morning. Hiiro asked who she was. She introduced herself as Astamil, calling herself the cute Wani-chan who was there to train him. Hiiro was confused because the Astamil he knew was a fierce sword demon and wondered where all that intensity had gone. Astamil told him that in a master-disciple relationship, stiff honorific language was not what she wanted, and asked him to call her master and speak casually. Hiiro pointed out that she was using polite speech herself. She tackled him, insisting he call her that and saying she would not respond until he did. Hiiro was stunned that Astamil was now pouting. He thought this was the same Astamil who had been so wary and saw him as a threat, and she was 420 years old, about 21 in human years. He admitted to himself that she really was cute, which stirred a strange anger, and he thought she should act that way toward an actual girl instead. Hiiro pointed out that cleaning up guys who tried to get between the princess and someone else was part of a bodyguard's job, so not taking him on as her student would contradict that. Astamil reluctantly said master, and then happily confirmed it, hopping around. Hiiro found her annoying. She said that was enough chatting and asked if they should get started, calling him her beloved student. Hiiro was shocked he was already a beloved disciple. She said they would begin with a warm-up and drew her sword, Nameless Grave. Hiiro panicked and asked if she really needed a sword for a warm-up. He asked if she knew that Nameless Grave was not a magic catalyst. She confirmed it did not use any magic, so it was perfectly safe, and added that for warm-up exercises a blade was necessary. Hiiro told her he was a complete novice with the sword, and that using a real blade from the start was suicide. Astamil gave in and handed him a practice wooden sword from the Holy Capital, saying they would use it just this once. Hiiro grabbed it, saying he just wanted to swing a real sword. Astamil noted that practical combat training would suit him better. Astamil attacked him immediately. Hiiro tried to block and thought that if she had been serious, he would have been in pieces. She told him the warm-up was far from over. Hiiro recalled that in the game, shortly after Astamil joined the party, they used her overpowered stats and equipment to defeat high-level enemies for aggressive leveling. He thought that with this mentor, he could not expect any cheap tricks. Hiiro felt like he was starting to follow the path of the sword and thought things were going well, but Astamil shattered his wooden sword with a strike that sent him flying. She told him he had let his guard down just because it was a wooden sword and reminded him that blocking did not mean it was over. Astamil stated her philosophy: even if her flesh and bones were cut, she would win. Hiiro responded that it was not normal at all. A few hours later, Hiiro was exhausted. He asked if both flesh and bone got cut, he would die, and called it musclehead harassment. Astamil noticed he was lacking stamina. Hiiro yelled at her, asking how she was not even winded, calling her a gorilla. She praised his willpower for making it that far without collapsing, and suggested they take a break and move on to theory. Hiiro apologized for calling her a gorilla. Astamil asked Hiiro if he had decided which attribute he was going to train. He said he was still not sure. In this game, aside from base stats, there was a system to raise attribute stats using 6 elemental attributes for catalysts. Hiiro said he was leaning toward water as his main since it worked well with other attributes, and seemed good for a support role. However, if he went with a sub-role, he would probably have to give up Kuki Masamune since it had fewer formula slots. Astamil suggested light would be a good choice since it paired well with swords, and combined with flash step, he could even move at light speed. Hiiro immediately refused, saying he hated light because it overlapped with that bastard. finding it irritating how that person acted all smug just for improving his starting attributes. Hiiro then told Astamil that he had been thinking about trying weapons besides just swords. She was interested and told him to go ahead. He started absent-mindedly petting her, and she told him that if he was going to pet someone, he should do it to Lapis, adding that she would like to see that. Hiiro finally made it back home, exhausted. It was 9 o'clock, meaning they had trained for almost 5 hours. He was dead tired. Astamil had disappeared somewhere saying she had some errand. He thought about going to the bath back home, but decided it sounded like too much trouble, so he would stop by the showers at the training grounds since they were closer. He passed through the training area on his way to the shower and noted that there were about a dozen shower rooms lined up for no reason. With just him there, it was a total waste. He thought that if he wanted to train, he could go to the dungeon. While showering, he heard the door to the next stall open. He and the other person made eye contact, and it was a girl. She screamed. Hiiro realized it was the most classic event from the game, the bumping into each other in the bath scenario. She hit him and knocked him to the floor. He froze when he saw who it was. It was Muir. She told him to get away from Hiiro and not to worry about her. She recognized the attacker as an assassin who used the hidden weapon, Shadow Hand. The assassin called out to the princess. Others arrived, and Astamil appeared too. She recognized the assassin's appearance. One of the girls remarked that the assassin was really after the princess and called Hiiro just a spoiled rich boy. Astamil explained that this was an accident, that Hiiro was already using the place, and that she had barged in on her own. As the princess's guard, she could not ignore that the princess of the Temple Light capital had been seen by a man. The others noticed Hiiro was covered in bruises and knife marks and were surprised he had endured Astamil's training. One said the brat might actually have potential. Muir thought she had judged him as a guy with no lust when she let him use the bath before, and now her instincts had gotten dull. Hiiro realized Muir completely saw him as the enemy now. He called out to Astamil for help. Astamil laughed and said things seemed tense, offering to clear the air for him. She said a clash between them and Hiiro was probably bound to happen anyway, and it was partly her fault for wearing him out until he lost focus. She announced they would battle. Hiiro compared it to something out of a shonen manga. Astamil called it a friendly match as part of a get-together, Alfheim Nation versus the Sanju family. Hiiro noted he was the only one on the Sanju side. Astamil said that if they fought normally, the Makaj archers would obviously win. She suggested adding a handicap. She told Lapis to fight on the Sanju family's side, and Lapis agreed. Astamil said there would be another helper too, and it would be this kid. A dark-haired girl appeared, and Hiiro recognized her as Rei. He asked Astamil what was going on. Rei arrived at Hiiro's place along with the maid, and Hiiro was shocked to see her. The elf was also there, holding taiyaki. Hiiro asked how Rei knew the elf, and the elf said she had picked Rei up while she was buying taiyaki. Rei explained that the elf was her little sister. Hiiro told Rei that the elf was not the kind of person you just brought along on a whim. Rei introduced herself as Sanjo Rei, the next head of the Sanjo family. She said that information about Hiiro bringing in elves had reached the main estate. It had sounded like a nasty, sarcastic rumor, so she could not believe it until she saw it for herself. She admitted that he really had brought in elves. Rei then asked Hiiro directly if he intended to make the elves his mistresses. The elf told Rei to forget about them and asked if she was not treating the princess like a mistress. Rei responded that an elf was still an elf, nothing more and nothing less. She called Hiiro a foolish nobody from another world and told him to know his place, warning him not to wander around the Sanjo family's domain like he owned it. Hiiro was confused. Hiiro told Rei that was enough, and to stop saying things she did not mean. Rei squeezed his arm and told him he was acting all virtuous and high and mighty, but he was no different from the rest of the Sanjo family. She apologized and thanked Hiiro for stepping in, explaining that her business was simply to see whether the indecent rumors about him were true and nothing more. Hiiro found it strange that the next head of the family would personally come to check on that. She told Snow to stand down, saying a mere attendant should not butt into a Sanjo family matter. Snow apologized. Hiiro thought that as far as he knew, there was no event where Rei came to see him. He recalled that early on, Rei was always like this, only ever saying things that were the opposite of what she really meant. He had a bad feeling about leaving things as they were. The mood was bad, so he suggested Rei spend the night with the elves and smooth things over. He told Rei to stay over tonight. Rei laughed and asked if he was not satisfied with just the elves and was going to lay his hands on her too, even though they were only distantly related. Hiiro panicked and said that was totally impossible. Hiiro feared Rei might pull something like this, and wondered what the pre-reincarnation Hiiro had done, because Rei was even more hated than in the original. He complained that it felt like a war was about to break out between the Alfheim Holy Capital and the Sanjo family, with him isolated in the middle. Snow noted that things were getting tense. Hiiro suggested they start the match since the conversation was getting cluttered. Yamada said she was in the mood for curry. Snow compared the situation to deciding whether to have stew or curry for dinner, calling it a petty quarrel. Yamada declared that for their master, every conflict in the world was nothing but a petty matter. Rei's little sister would act as her backup for the friendly match. It would be a 1-point match, and if Team Mikage lost even once, it was a loss. The Sanjo family side was allowed to fight as a pair with Lapis due to the difference in ability. If the royal capital won, they got the right to decide dinner, and the only option was curry. If the Sanjo family won, Hiiro's peeping would be overlooked, and the Mikage archers would never hold hostility again. Hiiro muttered that he was risking his life to defend a peeping charge. Lapis was spacing out, remembering the unreasonable things she had been forced into as a princess. Hiiro and Yamada told her to snap out of it. Rei picked up a practice sword and said she did not have the free time to play along with a fake friendship match. She broke the weapon against a pillar. She asked if Rei was running away after making such a bold declaration and after getting prepared. Rei said she would teach Shai the true meaning of running away, firsthand. The first match was announced as she versus Rei. Rei called out to Hiiro and asked if she could borrow the princess. Hiiro apologized to the two of them, saying the one thing he was not good at was holding back. Rei told Hiiro to make sure he escorted the princess properly, noting that she was still a princess even if just in name. Lapis protested, asking if she was not a princess even without the qualifier. She and Rei faced each other with their weapons ready. Rei said the next thing she was not good with was someone making a cocky face right in front of her. She said she felt the same. The match began. She charged and they clashed hard, exchanging rapid blows. Rei complimented one of She's thrusts. She told Lapis it was her turn, and Lapis charged in, saying a friendly match only had meaning when done in earnest. Rei declared the head was hers. They exchanged fierce strikes. Rei called She wide open, but She countered. Rei struck She hard, declaring it was the end, but She laughed it off, saying it just grazed her. Rei kicked She back. Lapis yelled switch and jumped in. She told Lapis to get her body in line. Lapis said she had moved back just in time and avoided an injury to her collarbone. Rei acknowledged the Mikage archers were no pushovers. She paused and told Rei she was just wondering if they might be able to win. Rei asked what she meant. She said that was assuming both sides were at full strength, but on their side, they had Lapis. The Mikage archer had been handicapped by having her special bow sealed. If they used Lapis well, they might just have a chance to win. Lapis charged at Rei again, yelling. Rei blocked and called out to the princess. Lapis bumped into She and they both fell, with She apologizing. Rei told She that her little sister was there covering for her, and now that the princess was out of commission, it was one-on-one. She gripped her weapon. Rei charged, but noticed something caught under her foot. Lapis suddenly appeared and told Rei not to count her out. Rei was shocked. Hiiro panicked and said this was bad. Rei and Lapis clashed, and Rei landed a fierce, decisive strike. A sparring match between Lapis and Rei ended in a draw after both landed simultaneous valid strikes. Rei complimented Lapis, telling her she was not bad for a little sister. Lapis acknowledged the draw and apologized for her rudeness up until now. She mentioned that it had been a while since her blood boiled like that. Rei clasped Lapis's hand tightly and said she had panicked, thinking Lapis's face might have gotten deformed after falling so hard. Lapis dismissed it. Hiiro thanked Rei for covering for him, and Rei called him a dummy for still making jokes while hurt. Lapis noted that the tension seemed to have eased up. Hiiro noted that the home-cooked meal flag had been raised, and with the sleepover that night, those two were bound to get even closer. Lapis thought he was quick to pair girls up. Hiiro told Lapis to leave the rest to her and asked her to record the sleepover, saying he would even get on his knees and beg. Lapis told him not to do that. Rei asked who said anything about staying over. Lapis apologized to Rei for keeping her waiting. Hiiro suggested a handshake to make up, but Rei said she still wanted to return the favor for him calling her this guy and asked if he wanted to get beaten to a pulp. Lapis declared that with Hiiro, she would win, and called Rei the main tank. Rei told her to call her that again, and she would rearrange her face with her fist, and told Hiiro not to treat her like a shield since they were teammates. Lapis announced herself as Lapis Crew La Lumette, Princess of the Holy Capital Alphium. Muir said there was no need for a signal. The second match was Muir versus Hiiro and Lapis. Muir attacked from behind without warning. Lapis called it underhanded. Hiiro and Lapis switched between offense and defense while blocking the rear, and the observers noted they were totally in sync. Hiiro realized their teamwork felt like a kind of dance. Together, they pressed the attack and knocked Muir's weapon from her hand. Hiiro charged at Muir with a sword, sliced past her, and the point was called. Lapis was satisfied, but Hiiro apologized and said his foot had slipped. Lapis hit him repeatedly, saying if that had landed properly, they definitely would have won. Hiiro complained and asked if he was a drum. A maid approached Rei with a towel, and Rei looked puzzled. Hiiro had asked a maid for use of the kitchen, and they opened it up for him. The maids even helped him set the table. He thought it was hard to believe he was really hated right after reincarnating. Lapis explained that the day after Hiiro made dinner, he had apologized to the maids, and their opinion of him improved from negative to neutral. She commented on how close they all seemed. Rei appeared and asked what was for dinner, demanding hamburger steak. Hiiro told her she had lost on the same team and had no right to make demands, handing her curry instead. Lapis said it was fine because Rei loved curry too. Hiiro noticed Rei standing close to him, and she protested that she was a princess. He wondered when she had started being treated like a friend. Hiiro asked if Rei was worried about Muir. He apologized to Rei. She said that the people from Mikaja archers were not bad, but tended to be overprotective of her, and that they were the ones who barged in yet caused him so much trouble. Hiiro told her not to worry about it, and said their hostility was perfectly reasonable. He added that since he got to admire a princess's body, he would say that made them even. Rei told him to erase that from his memory immediately. Hiiro said that if it was not a bother, they should get along from here on. Rei cut him off and told him to leave the villa and never come back. Rei explained that she had her own circumstances, and that he had something he wanted to protect, so if he stayed around her, it would cause him trouble. Hiiro asked if she hated him that much. Rei was shocked and started tearing up. She said that outside the holy capital, Alfheim, she did not have any friends, and that even though she had said terrible things when they first met, Hiiro had always been kind to her. Hiiro panicked and quickly said it was a joke and that she could totally stay around. He told her she was not a bother at all. Rei asked through tears if she really was not a bother. The Mikaj archers surrounded Hiiro with weapons drawn. Rei said she had been told to be wary of men and did not know Hiiro well back then, but now it was fine. She told him it did not matter if he was a guy or a girl, and that Hiiro was Hiiro. Lapis watched and told Hiiro to just get out already. Hiiro thought there was no way he could tell her to leave, because making a heroine cry went against his principles, and if he made the princess sad, Mikaj archers would come after him. He went looking for Rei and found the stargazing deck on the 3rd floor. Rei was sitting there and noticed him. She told him that if he had business, he should come up. Hiiro noticed she was fresh out of the bath. She asked why he had missed on purpose during the match. He was surprised she noticed. She said she saw it when he was about to strike her. She explained that if she lost, it would mean someone like him could get near Lapis, and to Muir that would have looked like the end of the world. Hiiro said that her devotion to her master was blazing strong and truly admirable. Rei said she did not understand what he was saying. Hiiro simply said that he had lost. Rei told him that someday he would understand, and that one day he too would welcome a wife he could truly trust. Hiiro reflected on Rei's words. The girl called Sanjo Rei did not trust anyone. She did not trust the great aunt who forced the name Sanjo Rei onto her, nor the foster parents who gave her false love, nor the aunts who bought her anything she wanted. Ever since she was a child, she had been used without understanding why, dragged into the darkness of the Sanjo family. She was taken away by relatives as the rightful successor, and day after day she endured harsh training with punishment from the main family and spiteful harassment from the jealous branch families. Even Hiiro, as her elder brother, had exploited her position for his own ends. Growing up in such an environment, there was no way she could ever trust anyone. Hiiro thought that being called trash and hated worked out fine for him, but he recognized that Rei's inability to trust was a rejection reflex built to protect herself. He recalled her saying that every last person was just using her, that she had trusted them over and over and wondered what had pushed her this far. Rei told him it was too late, that he had never once saved her, and to stop acting like a good person. She ran off and slammed a door behind her. Hiiro told himself to calm down. He recalled that the one who was supposed to save Rei from the Sanjo family was the protagonist, and that if Sanjo Hiiro got involved, the Yuri he loved might end up ruined. He then noticed Snow the maid bowing to him at the stargazing deck. He remarked that she really was serving as the Sanjo family's maid. Snow said she had a request. It had been a week since the practice match and the incident with Rei. A maid had asked Hiiro to have a meal with her the following Saturday, handing him a Sanjo group VIP member's card. Hiiro wondered why she had asked with such a pained expression and was now heading to the place she had specified. Lapis was walking beside him, clinging to his arm, and asked what his favorite foods were. Hiiro said lilies, then corrected himself. He asked why she had started clinging to him like a duckling. Lapis called him cute for getting flustered just from linking arms, and said it was not something only lovers did. Hiiro worried about people suspecting they were in a relationship between a man and a woman. Lapis told him people would just think she was linking arms with a girl in men's clothes. Hiiro thought that his common sense from his past life kept getting in the way of everyday life in a Yuri game world. He recognized Lapis as a person noting that even Astamil had acknowledged him. Lapis said he had a charm that made her want to chase after him. Lapis said she wanted clothes first since they needed to prepare for something at the academy. But before that, she suggested lunch at a restaurant. She declared she would treat him to anything he liked, telling him not to underestimate the heir of the Sanjo family. They arrived at a fancy restaurant called La Ragazza Rinassi, run by the Sanjo group. The receptionist told them that those with a score of 0 were not allowed inside. Lapis tried using her membership card and mentioned she was from the Sanjo family, but the receptionist still refused. Lapis apologized and said fast food was fine since she was a princess and was sick of fancy restaurants anyway. Hiiro told her not to look so down. Hiiro asked Lapis how she dealt with someone her power did not work on. Lapis told him to say her score was 30,000. Hiiro asked if it really had to be this shop. Lapis said getting turned away from her own family's place and going home was lame. 2 figures in black suits with swords appeared. Lapis said they were the Sanjo family's guards. Hiiro then saw Rei arriving with them. Lapis told Hiiro to stay outside for about an hour and not to worry about it. She also warned him to keep his magic catalyst device put away because it would cause trouble, and told him not to come inside no matter what. Hiiro was confused. The maid from before appeared and asked Hiiro if he would have a meal there with her the following Saturday. She said she knew it was a strange request, but for her there was only him and no one else she could rely on. With tears in her eyes, she begged him to save Rei. Hiiro recalled that this was an event the protagonist was meant to face in the game. If he did not step in, Rei would suffer a deep wound before even entering the academy. He knew that as Sanjo hero, he should not get involved, but he could not accept that. He decided he would not betray himself, and that even if he had become Sanjo hero, that was one thing that must never be compromised. He grabbed the member's card and headed inside. He patted Snow on the head and told her to leave it to him. Snow looked up at him with tears in her eyes. Rei stated that she would not allow a future where they continued to cry. Hiiro declared that he would bend the very laws of the world because tears did not belong in Yuri, and he made a phone call. Rei and her great-aunt were having dinner at a fancy Japanese Western restaurant. The great-aunt told Rei that she had said it time and again. Rei was a woman of the Sanjo family, and she needed to behave in a way that befitted it. Rei asked, what about her conduct displeased her? The great-aunt said that lately Rei had been awfully taken with Hiiro. Rei responded that his behavior was strange, but nothing worth paying attention to. The great-aunt said the real problem was Rei herself. She pointed out that Rei had spent the night at a villa she had no need to visit and called it a disgraceful blunder. She said Rei had not thrown away the bandage Hiiro had given her and asked if she had actually gotten happy over something like that. She accused Rei of letting her guard down around that fool. The great-aunt declared that Rei was the woman who would become the head of the Sanjo family, and that kind of carelessness could not be overlooked. She told Rei she needed discipline and struck her hard, sending her crashing into the dining table. The great-aunt told Rei to go ahead and eat alone. Rei's own choices had never existed anywhere. Rei recalled that a koi fish in the estate's pond had once called out to her, asking if she would be its family. Since no girl had been born to inherit the main family, Rei, a young child without parents, had been chosen to fill that gap and was brought to the Sanjo estate by people from the facility. The great-aunt looked at her and said her hair and face were filthy. The maids threw away the sneakers Rei had gotten from her mother. Rei begged them to give them back, but they said the young lady could not be wearing things of the common folk. The great-aunt told the maids to leave, saying Rei was no longer someone within their reach. That was how Rei, just an outsider, became Sanjo Rei. The Sanjo family bound Rei with strict rules. Her clothing, hairstyle, mannerisms, schedule, and lessons were all controlled. Every detail of etiquette was drilled into her, down to sitting exactly 16 sun from the edge of the tatami. Scoldings came from the main house, the branch families, and the instructors. The great-aunt told Rei she was a woman of the Sanjo family, nothing more and nothing less, and that to survive in this house she had to acquire refinement, wisdom, and a proper way of living. The hair her father had praised was yanked, and the face her mother had praised was slapped. Rei hated it more than anything. Lying face down at her spot, she thought about how every bit of happiness she had felt had come from her real parents, but those two were no longer in this world. She wondered how she was supposed to find happiness from now on. A faint sign of happiness came to her. A lonely koi with a heart-shaped pattern and frightened eyes just like hers. The pond became Rei's only refuge. She went there often and confided her feelings to the koi. Even when awful things happened, she could endure them as long as the koi was there. She believed the koi would make her happy. One day, Rei found the koi lying dead along with other fish in the drained pond. The great aunt told Rei she was a fool and warned her not to think she could inherit the house so easily. Rei realized she had been looking at it the wrong way. This was not a world that the ordinary Rei should see. It should be seen from the perspective of Rei of the Sanjo family. She performed a flawless piano recital, entertained an assemblyman with a perfect smile, held conversation for minutes without pause, and walked with her chest held high. Someone noticed her walking and commented that she was pretty clumsy. The person said she envied Rei, a mechanical doll that could dance without a will of its own. She told Rei she could see her puppet strings. Rei thought to herself that she was manipulating herself, playing the role of Rei of the Sanjo family. Though the precision was still clumsy, she was performing well enough. Everyone gave applause and praised her beauty. The marionette of Sanjo Rei was very well received. Rei thought it was easy to obtain, the happiness for Rei of the Sanjo family. She figured that if she just kept pulling the strings, she could probably live easily. Rei began to hear rumors about her older brother Hiiro. People around the estate complained about him and wondered why the main family had ever given birth to a male. The label of her only family, her older brother, began echoing in Rei's heart. The cause traced back to an anime she had watched when she still lived with her parents, where a brother character declared he would always be on his sister's side. Rei wondered what kind of man Hiiro could be. He too was shunned by the Sanjo family, just like her. She thought maybe they could understand each other's hardships. She clung to that sweet dream of true happiness. A letter arrived addressed to her on her 9th birthday from Sanjo Hiiro. Rei's hope swelled and warmth was kindled in her heart, but when she opened it, it was just a letter begging for money. There was not a single word about her birthday. Rei started laughing. The older brother she had admired turned out to be just as worthless as the rumors said. He asked her to lend him cash, told her not to leave him out, and threatened that if she refused to help him, even an idiot could figure out what would happen. The great aunt told Rei she understood now, and said that even if Rei wished for happiness, she would only be betrayed. She said the reason they had chosen Rei as the next head was because she liked Rei's clouded eyes that saw the truth of the world and were worthy of inheriting the Sanjo name. She said no one was worth trusting, no one was worth giving affection to, and no one was worth loving yourself for. She urged Rei to sink even deeper, saying she was just one more push from being complete. An elevator arrived at the 12th floor. A man stepped out carrying a sword, and someone recognized him as Hiiro. The great aunt told him she would call him a car and to go home right now. Hiiro greeted them casually and said it looked like they were having a lot of fun. The great aunt coldly told him to leave. Hiiro told them not to leave him out like that and smashed through the dining area. Rei observed that Hiiro was defiant, arrogant, and fearless, just as Hiiro should be. Hiiro had crashed into the Sanjo estate restaurant where Rei's secret dinner was being held. Rei was shocked and asked why Snow had not stopped him. Yamada stammered. Hiiro said that since he had asked politely, they had let him through, and he pointed out that they had been measuring his score wrong. He figured that Rei had made Snow into his guard to make sure this secret dinner would not be exposed, but the maid's actions had been completely contrary to Rei's plans. Snow had been tagging along into the dungeon and obviously keeping watch. Yamada called it totally obvious. The true intention became clear when Snow was entrusted with a member's card for the restaurant. Snow had been assessing Hiiro all along, for this very day. Hiiro told everyone to quit sitting there with dumb looks on their faces and asked them to pour a drink for the new arrival. He questioned whether the big shots there were so stingy they could not even offer a guest a glass of water. He used his enhanced projection skill and sent the great aunt's bodyguard flying across the room. Hiiro called it a home run. He realized that since Yuri was defiled, he had lashed out without thinking, but his opening move had been too provocative. He had trained with his master that morning, so he barely had any magic left. His master had told him that 1 or 2 opponents would not be a problem, but if this many came at him, it would be trouble. Hiiro looked at the crowd of fighters and wondered what he was going to do. At the very least, he had to keep his unease hidden. The great aunt's bodyguard remarked on the mess and noted there were other honored guests present. The great aunt felt a premonition of death and ordered them to kill Hiiro. The bodyguard asked whether eliminating him now would be premature. The great aunt declared that a man who carried the Sanjo blood in its fullest was not needed in this world. The bodyguard used blinding dark attribute magic called Shutdown Darkness Seal on the room. Rei could not believe what she was seeing and noted that the great aunt was seriously trying to take Hiiro down. She addressed Snow, saying that everything Snow had ever done had been to protect her and asked if this rescue was the same. She asked why Snow had chosen that brother. Snow asked Rei to take care of a girl and handed her off. Rei asked why she chose that brother. The girl introduced herself as Snow. A woman in a kimono said she would look after her, recalling how Hiiro had suddenly sent her a message and entrusted this girl to her out of nowhere. She noted that the girl looked timid and wondered what exactly the relationship between Snow and Hiiro was. The girl kept bumping into things and was bullied by the Branch family members. One of them threw something at her. Snow slid in to protect the girl using a pot lid as a shield. The Branch family members said that without proof, there was no way Snow could snitch on them. Snow pulled out a recording device showing footage with an attack power reading of 65535 and said she had gotten hit by the pebble they had flicked. She told the girl to make a teary-eyed, hurt-looking face so she could use that as evidence too. Rei noted that ever since Snow came, her life had changed. Snow protected her from the Branch family's abuse and harassment, raised her own standing by any means necessary, and completely blocked their meddling. There was no ulterior motive. Snow truly devoted herself to Rei. In the entire Sanjo family, Snow was the only one on Rei's side. Rei asked Snow why she helped her. Snow said she had made a promise with someone she loved that she would help Rei. She said that person would come to help Rei too someday. Rei asked who that person was. Snow said it was a hero, and that he was out there. He was the one who would surely make Rei smile. She told Rei that it was not yet the time, but Sanjo Hiiro would be reborn someday. Rei wondered what Snow was talking about and whether the person she meant was Hiiro. She thought that there was no way and that it was absolutely impossible for him to help her. Back in the restaurant, the bodyguard charged at Hiiro, screaming for him to die. Hiiro noted that something felt off. He remarked that shouting out your position made the blinding pointless, and realized the bodyguard was moving slow because he was so used to watching Astamil's swordsmanship. He could dodge with minimal movement and did not even need enhanced projection. He thought that with the strength he had left, he could not take them all at once and wondered if there was a way to drop them in one go. This was his first real fight since training with his master, and he realized he could not fight every battle fully charged. If he did not move efficiently, he would run out of fuel, and that meant game over. He was glad he had learned about handling magic before entering the academy. He decided his only option was a light orb. He used a hidden trick for working around the limited formula slots in a magic catalyst device, altering the properties of an already active spell by swapping the catalyst and reconnecting it, changing the orb generation into a split bullet generation. He used light orb explosive shot, blowing them all away. The explosion destroyed the room, sending debris and bodies flying everywhere. Hiiro burst through the wreckage and called out to Rei, telling Snow to come to him. Snow recalled a time right before the friendly match with the elves. She had gone to report on the current state of the villa when an elf appeared. The elf introduced herself as Astamil and recognized Snow as the younger sister of her beloved disciple, Sanjo Hiiro. Snow was stunned, recognizing Astamil as the highest rank magician who held the title of ancestor and the strongest warrior of the elves. Snow said that the capital of Alfheim had carried out an investigation into Sanjo Hiiro, and that he was nothing but rotten rumors and a lousy reputation. She said she could not entrust Lapis to a man like that. Astamil said that after crossing swords with him, she had changed her mind. She explained that Hiiro was trying to survive because he had some kind of purpose, and even though his life was being targeted by the Sanjo family, there was a presence about him that made it seem secondary. She told Snow to believe only what she had seen with her own eyes and asked Snow to please assist Hiiro at the upcoming sparring match. Snow told Rei that her impression of that man had not changed even now, but there really were people like him in this world. People who could live for the sake of keeping another alive and risk their very life to protect someone's smile. That person would surely be able to save Rei. Hiiro grabbed Rei and protected her while fighting. Snow declared that Sanjo Hiiro had been reborn. Rei looked at Hiiro, who declared that risking his life for Yuri was the one and only thing he must do. Rei wondered since when he had become this strong, and said it was not that she was admitting he had changed. The Sanjo estate was in ruins. Hiiro said that he had managed to wipe out the guards somehow, but that his light orb shot had nearly drained all of his mana. Rei asked why he was pushing himself like this, and told him that he had no reason to go this far. Hiiro declared that of course he did, and that his top priorities were Yuri first, then himself, then everyone else. He stated that if it was for the future of Yuri, he would risk his life. Rei told him to stop going on about that again. Hiiro said that was exactly why he wanted to ask her what happened at the Sanjo estate. He told her not to worry, and that no matter what happened, he would protect her. He also started to mention that today was her birthday, but before he could finish his sentence, Rei shouted his name in alarm. A dark-haired woman attacked Hiiro from behind with an enhanced projectile. The impact sent him crashing through the glass windows, and he was blown out of the building entirely. He fell toward the street far below, swinging his sword to try to break his fall. The dark-haired woman pursued him, chasing Rei through the broken glass as well. Rei screamed as both she and the woman crashed through the windows. The woman landed on the ground below, holding her sword, while Rei also fell. Hiiro slammed into a structure below and was badly injured. Rei called out to him. The dark-haired woman commented that Hiiro was stubborn. She asked how long he planned to keep wasting her time. An elderly man in traditional clothing appeared alongside a small girl. He noticed that the woman had brought her magic catalyst device with her and called it her trump card. He said he had not lived this long for nothing and told Rei to step aside. The old man looked at Hiiro, who was bloodied and beaten. He stated that Sanjo Hiiro had been reborn. Rei said that those were the words of the maid she believed in, and that Hiiro had risked his life to fight and protect her. She said she believed in him. Hiiro cursed under his breath. The old man asked if Rei still believed that nonsense even though she would be betrayed again. He declared that she would be betrayed, that Hiiro had been turning a blind eye the whole time, and that people did not change that easily. He told her she should know by now that beyond that faint hope lay only despair. Rei's expression went blank. She gripped a certain accessory tightly and froze up, as if praying to something. Hiiro noticed her posture and realized she had been holding something back at the observatory too. He wondered if that had already been a signal. He cursed himself for not noticing sooner. He said he could not hear what they had said to her, but that it was sickening. He yelled at the old woman, accusing her of digging into Rei's wounds just to shut her up. The old man demanded to know what Hiiro had said to Rei and asked if he even understood how she felt. He said there was no need for Hiiro to understand. He explained that what was expected of the heir was a pretty face, a body, and a puppet that could show the family's power. He said that if Rei had just stayed quiet and let him handle her, this would not have happened, and that she brought this on herself. The old man aimed his weapon at Hiiro and declared that once Hiiro was gone, everything would fall into place. He told Hiiro to die honorably, and that this was the fate of the Sanjo family. Hiiro told him not to bark. Hiiro thought about his condition. His mana was almost gone, and his arm was badly damaged. He wondered how he was supposed to get through this. He then saw a vision of Rei as a small child, calling out for her mama and papa and begging for help. Hiiro realized that the only one who could help her now was him. He grabbed his weapon and saw the old man clicking his device. Hiiro let out a battle cry and charged at the dark-haired woman, clashing swords with her. The old man shouted at the woman, telling her to hurry up and do something about Hiiro. The woman noted Hiiro's eyes and said she had seen them before. She stated that those were the eyes of someone whose heart was controlled by the Sanjo family. The old man yelled at her again, demanding she finish off the half-dead boy. The woman and Hiiro continued exchanging blows. She used her magic catalyst to form her blade, but Hiiro kept fighting even as the blade chipped and broke apart repeatedly. He realized he was out of mana and could not properly form the blade, wondering how many more times he could reconstruct it. The woman kicked Hiiro away, and the small girl watched in shock. The woman attacked Hiiro again and slashed him badly. Rei told Hiiro that it was enough and asked him to please stop. Hiiro shouted that it was not enough. He yelled that it hurt and that Rei was suffering, that she wanted someone to help her, and asked why she had to put up with it, and let the old hag decide how she lived her life. The woman was struck by his words. Hiiro continued shouting that the fate of Sanjo Rei was something he would smash to pieces, not a line from some old hag's script. He told Rei that she was just Rei, nothing more and nothing less. He asked if there was something she truly wanted and demanded that she say it with her own mouth. Rei called his words unforgivable, then immediately corrected herself and said that actually they were forgivable, because today was a special day after all. Hiiro asked what she meant. Rei revealed that it was her birthday. She said she had always wanted someone to remember it and asked if Hiiro could do that. She said it was a simple, ordinary kind of wish for a little sister, and as her older brother, he could grant her that much. The old man was furious and asked if Rei understood how much hardship the women of past generations had endured to seize real power, and said that if she spoke her true feelings, it would be over. Rei clenched her fist. She said she had always wondered why she was even born, and that ever since she came to the Sanjo family, no one had ever wanted her. It had gotten harder and harder to keep being Rei of the Sanjo family. She asked why she was even in this world. She said that was why she had always wanted someone to celebrate her birthday. Hiiro, covered in blood, smiled and wished her a happy birthday. He said it first in English, then repeated it. Rei started crying. She reached for a bracelet accessory and took it off. The old man was alarmed. Rei broke down, sobbing. She then attacked the old man, slashing at him with force. The old man clicked his device as Rei came at him. Both Hiiro and the dark-haired woman stood facing each other. Hiiro declared that he would still win and told the woman to remember the Astamil style. He called her his little sister and told her that this was a birthday present, something special, and that he would show her. He charged at the woman, letting his flesh be cut and his bones break. The chapter ended with a statement that his master's teachings would let Hiiro seize victory.